The Great Pyramid of Giza. I mean, it's one of the most iconic structures ever built, right? A monument to human achievement that stood for thousands of years. But it's also one of our biggest mysteries. So let's dive into this, because the official story we've all been told, it might just be the oldest cover-up in history.
So, our story really kicks off back in 1993 with a German engineer named Rudolph Gatenbrink. He sends this tiny little robot up a mysterious, unexplored shaft in the Queen's chamber, a shaft that, for all intents and purposes, was supposed to be a dead end. But what it found, well, that changed everything. So, this little robot travels 90 yards up a hidden incline, and it comes face to face with a small limestone door. And this door had two copper handles, which, by the way, was the first metal ever found inside the pyramid. Gatenbrink was, you can imagine, ecstatic. He immediately asked for permission to see what was behind it. And the response? The project was shut down. Immediately. And he was banned from the site. You gotta ask yourself, what could they possibly be trying to hide?
To even begin to understand why, we have to look at the official story, the one we all learned in school. The story goes that the Great Pyramid was built as a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu. Simple enough, right? But when you really start to look closely, that story is absolutely full of holes.
Okay, so the official story hangs on just a few key pieces of evidence, but they all fall apart as soon as you poke at them. They'll point to a sarcophagus, but get this, no mummy has ever been found in any pyramid. Ever. They'll point to Khufu's name found inside, but it's just some red paint graffiti, not a grand royal carving. Basically, every single piece of proof for the tomb theory is circumstantial at best.
And the problems don't stop with a why. Oh no. They get so much bigger when you start asking how. The sheer scale of the engineering is something our own modern technology would struggle with today, let alone 4,500 years ago.
The pyramid is built from an incredible 2.3 million stone blocks. And we're not talking about simple bricks here. Many of these are massive, precision-cut behemoths, each one weighing several tons. I mean, the sheer volume of material is just staggering.
And it gets even more unbelievable. The granite blocks that make up the king's chamber weigh up to 80 tons each. Now, to put that into perspective, that's about the weight of a modern battle tank. And they were supposedly quarried and transported from 500 miles away before the invention of the wheel. Think about that. And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. Our most powerful modern cranes struggle with this kind of weight. So the idea that ancient builders pulled this off with, flimsy papyrus ropes and some simple wooden rollers, it seems almost unbelievable. This huge mismatch between the tools and the task is one of the biggest problems. The official story says they used simple copper saws and chisels, but modern experiments show these tools can barely even scratch the stone. And yet, the precision is just mind-blowing. The stones fit together so perfectly you can't slide a razor blade between them, and they're held together by nothing but their own incredible weight. Then you've got the timeline. These supposedly did all of this in just 20 years. To pull that off, they would have had to quarry, transport, and perfectly place a massive stone block every few minutes, 24/7, for 2 decades straight. I mean, look at this chart. It makes modern megaprojects like the Panama Canal look slow. It just doesn't add up. So, if the construction itself seems impossible, what about the design? Well, this is where the mystery really deepens. Because the pyramid isn't just a big pile of rocks. It's a message, encoded with a level of scientific knowledge that, frankly, shouldn't have existed back then. Just take a look at this. First off, the pyramid actually has 8 sides, not 4. A feature so subtle you can only see it from the air at sunrise and sunset during the equinox. It's also located at the exact geodesic center of all of Earth's landmass. And it's aligned to true north more accurately than any modern building, a feat we couldn't even verify until we had satellites. Okay, let's have a quick flashback to math class. Remember the constant pi? It's pretty fundamental to our understanding of geometry, but here's the kicker. The ancient Greeks are credited with discovering it thousands of years after the pyramid was supposedly built. And yet, there it is, encoded directly into the pyramid's core dimensions. If you take the perimeter of the pyramid's base, its ratio to the pyramid's height is exactly 2 times pi. This is not a coincidence. No way. But the mathematical genius doesn't stop there. It is literally written on the map. The pyramid's exact latitude is 29.9792458 degrees north. Now, you might be looking at that and thinking, okay, that's just a random string of numbers, right? Wrong. That string of numbers is identical to the modern measurement for the speed of light in meters per second, a value we didn't even calculate until the 17th century. How is that even possible? And it gets even crazier. It turns out the pyramid is a precise scale model of our planet. Now stick with me here because this is wild. Because the Earth bulges at the equator, a minute of longitude is slightly longer than a minute of latitude. Well, the pyramid sits on this slightly wider base platform. It's called a socle. Incredibly, the perimeter of the pyramid without its platform perfectly scales to a minute of latitude, and the perimeter with its platform scales to a minute of longitude. The builders knew the exact size and shape of the Earth. So, if it wasn't a tomb, what on earth was it? I mean, the builders clearly had this profound understanding of math and astronomy and the Earth itself, and all of this has led to some pretty incredible theories about its real purpose.
When you really look at the evidence, the whole royal tomb theory becomes one of the least likely explanations. Instead, these much more compelling ideas start to emerge, like the theory that the pyramid is actually a map of the stars, a reflection of the constellation Orion, or maybe even that it was some kind of functional energy machine.
Robert Bauval's Orion correlation theory is just fascinating. He proposes that the layout of the three Giza pyramids on the ground is a perfect mirror image of the three stars in Orion's belt. Even the shafts inside the pyramid point directly to these stars as they would have appeared in the sky 4,500 years ago. And what's crazier, this exact same pattern appears halfway across the world at Teotihuacan in Mexico. All of this, it doesn't point to aliens. It points to something maybe even more profound, a lost chapter in our own human history. The evidence suggests an advanced civilization existed long, long before we're told, one that was wiped from the face of the Earth. So let's just reframe our standard timeline for a second. We know that modern humans have been around for about 200,000 years. But what if civilization is much older than we think? Evidence points to a global cataclysm around 11,500 years ago, right at the end of the last ice age. At that exact time, we see these incredibly sophisticated sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey being built. Even the heavy water erosion on the Sphinx suggests it's from this much earlier, rainier time. So maybe the pyramids aren't the dawn of civilization. Maybe they're an echo of one that was lost. And this quote, man, it really gets to the heart of the matter. We just assume ancient people must have used primitive versions of our own technology. Hammers, ropes, ramps. But what if they had a completely different branch of technology? One we haven't rediscovered yet, and one that archaeologists aren't even equipped to look for. Ultimately, the Great Pyramid challenges our entire story of human progress. It suggests our history isn't some simple, straight line from cavemen to smartphones, but a story with lost chapters and forgotten greatness. It forces us to ask the most profound question of all. Is the real mystery not how they built it, but who we as a species once were?